listeners. Welcome to another episode of Romance Unraveled. This is your host, Jacob Bozen.
And I'm your co host, Savannah Van Orden. And today on the show, I'm actually super excited because we have Cooper on. And I've known Cooper for about 6 months now. He actually works with me. And the story he's actually going to tell, I've heard a little bit about it. And I'm just so excited to go into more detail now. So go ahead, Coop.
Hi, I'm Cooper. As Savannah said, I work with her. I've known her for about 6 months, and she asked me to come on today just to discuss one of my past relationships. The relationship lasted about 4 years, and I actually thought that I was going to marry this girl. So, thought I would just give you guys the story and um, just to make it clear, I don't think is the bad guy in this situation. I think that we both kind of had our ups and downs, and I think it ended at a point where I was at my down, and I can't really blame her for that. Um, so this girl's name is Alyssa. I actually went to high school with her. She was the grade below me, so we weren't very close, but we had a lot of like common friends. She was actually dating this guy named Scott, and his sister I was actually very good friends with. I went to college with her, and we became very close. Um, Scott's sister was Aubrey, and we had kind of like a weird relationship where we were very, very close, um, just inseparable during college. And we kind of came to this point where, she was giving me relationship advice, and I had dated this horrible girl through college. And Aubrey just kind of stuck up for me, kind of helped me get through it. And, interestingly enough, her family was kind of in a bad position. Her dad was accused of murdering her mom. And,
Oh, wow.
and it was a very popular story for a while. Um,
Like it
but
was it on the news? Like it was it a major news story?
it was, in some major like television series picked it up and did stories on it. She had
What?
asked me to go to his final trial because he was found guilty a couple of times and actually spent a lot of time in prison. Um, but for the last trial, he was found not guilty. So he's currently not in prison and was not held accountable for it.
So
Um,
the girl you were dating, it was her dad.
Sorry, that was actually my friend. So
Okay.
Aubrey's dad.
Okay.
Okay.
Um, and kind of the reason that I bring that up is because the girl that I started dating, Alyssa, was dating Aubrey's brother at the time, Scott. So just it was definitely an interesting time, but when
So
I
so let's go back just a little bit. So
okay.
Alyssa is dating somebody named Scott, correct?
Yes, and
And
Scott's sister I was very close with. She was a good friend of mine and
and
went
that
to
is
college with me.
Aubrey, correct?
Yes. Yep,
And
that's Aubrey.
you were going after Alyssa.
Yeah, so that happened when we were done with college,
Okay.
and before that she was dating Scott. So, she was he was that guy was basically a celebrity in the town because, his dad was famous and was accused of murder. So they were actually kind of like famous in our town.
Will you tell us the
So
town?
about what happened with the dad?
Yeah.
Yeah. So his wife disappeared. It was either the day before or on 9/11. So, it was kind of a bad time for that because they weren't really able to do their job right. Everybody was focused. I'm from New York, so very, very close to where 9/11 happened. And when she disappeared, they weren't really able to do the best job with it. Um, so they accused the dad because they had found like blood drops in the house. And just some just some behavior that they didn't think was right. So of course the cops and the whole town accused this guy of murdering her mom. Um,
So, sorry, Coop, how old were you when this was taking place? And like, what was your mindset being friends with somebody who is being convicted for murder?
well, I was 18, maybe 19 at this time, and with him being found not guilty, it really wasn't for me to judge him. I actually spent some time with him, and he was a decent guy. I used to, for a senior skip day, I went to his house, and we went on his lake with the boats, and you know, it really just wasn't my place. And because this, the children really believed that he was innocent. Um, so really nobody will ever know. Her body was never found, and it was just a town tragedy, honestly. So I didn't really feel like I was in the position to decide on whether he was guilty or not guilty. I just knew that Aubrey was a great friend to me, and I wanted to support her in any way I could.
Okay,
Yeah,
that
no,
makes
that
sense.
makes sense. I think that's kind of crazy though. So then did you get in you didn't get in a relationship with Aubrey though, right?
No, I did not. No, it just our relationship wasn't like that. We were honestly just best friends. We grew up together, went to high school, and then we ended up going to the same college. And we both played lacrosse. We had similar interests. We knew all the same people, and she was just a really great person. I really wish I still had a relationship with her, but it all kind of went south when my relationship with Alyssa went downhill as well.
So what happened with Alyssa?
So she and Scott broke up. And then I went home from college, and I used to go to the bar quite a bit. Um, we did have fake IDs, so we were going to the bars well before we were 21. Um, so me and my brother and my friends would go to this bar that was, it was a couple stories. It had a dance club on the second floor. And so I ended up going with a couple of girls to this bar, and one of them was Alyssa. Um, Basically, we went there with no intention of even talking. We were just acquaintances from school. We knew common people, and when her and her friends, they wanted somewhere safe to stay, so I let them come back to my apartment and stay the night. And I just ended up staying up all night with Alyssa, like just talking. We just talked about everything, and it just felt so natural. And it was nothing sexual at that point. It was just, I really liked this girl. So the next morning she went home and I went to work, and then we just started texting and hanging out more, and eventually we just developed a relationship.
Okay, so keep telling us more about this story. So
Hmm.
it obviously tumbled and fell. So like walk us through like so you kind of started your relationship and then I'm assuming it climaxed at some point and then it's started tumbling at some point as well, right?
Yeah, to be honest with you, it was actually, it kind of felt like the perfect relationship. Like, we were together for about 4 years, and I think we maybe had two fights in the entire 4 years. Um, we were just so close, and I was so close with her family. I even lived with her family for a little bit, just because, I was still going to school, and her mom said I was there so much, why not just spend the night some nights? So I ended up staying with them for a while. Um, and her family just treated me so great. Like, they would take me to the Outer Banks on vacations with them. We would go to parties all the time. I was very close with her grandparents. Everything honestly just felt perfect. I even ended up hiring her sister to work for my property management company for a while. So everything was going great. And then you know her mom was kind of a pain in the butt, in the sense that she was obsessive. Um, so when I first started dating her, her mom actually used to physically cry about her ex Scott, which looking back on it, I think is just because she loved attention and she liked being connected to the family that was famous for the tragedy of their mother. So, um, her mom was interesting because I just truly believe that she was severely bipolar. She was very sweet, but when she wanted to be evil, she could. Um, I
So
know
she would
that.
like bring up like the Scott guy. She
Mhm.
would bring him up while you were dating her daughter and then like cry about him.
Yeah, and then she would also invite his sisters over still, and it was she just wanted to be attached to that family. Like she loved it for whatever reason. I think it was just the attention, but she really liked being a part of it. Um, and it hurt my feelings a lot because I was a young guy. I was trying my best to be close with their family and to do everything right, and it just never seemed like I could add up to what the family wanted.
Okay, but continue your story because you said it had your guys' relationship was perfect, but it had something to do with like not your guys' relationship, like a family member. So I'm assuming it's the mom.
Yeah, kind of. The mom, as I was saying, was very interesting, and she became obsessive over her daughter's relationships. Um, so Alyssa's sister, she used to date guys, and her her mom would come up with horrible stories about them after they would break up. She accused one of the guys of trying to hit him with his car,
Mm.
which was just completely false. He drove by them, and all of a sudden, the story turned into he was trying to run them over. So she was just unstable. It made me nervous being in the position I was, but with dating her for years, I never felt like I was at jeopardy to be targeted. So I really didn't let it bother me too much until we did break up. Um, so as I mentioned, it's not us breaking up really wasn't her fault. I was going through just a lot, you know. I don't know what ended up happening, but I I started getting like really really bad panic attacks and having some medical issues where I would have seizures. Um And I personally I believe this stemmed from an incident that happened probably a month or two before we broke up. I had gone to a shooting range with my friends, and we were trap shooting with shotguns. And when my friend that I was standing next to went to shoot, the gun exploded and blew his arm apart. Um,
What? That's
so
so sad.
it was honestly horrible. And it really put me in a bad spot. Like I said, I was next to him. I ended up getting cut on my side from a piece of the gun. And with his arm just kind of hanging there, I was able to take off my shirt and tie a tourniquet. But, subconsciously, I think it took a toll on me for a little bit. I didn't think it did at the time, but, it kind of aligns with when I started having panic attacks, and it kind of makes sense to me that maybe subconsciously it was just affecting me. Um, so I ended up getting these panic attacks quite a bit from then on, and a couple weeks after that incident, I was driving in my car, and I don't know if it was a panic attack or what happened, but while I was driving, um, I completely lost control of my body. I was having like a seizure. Luckily, I was able to pull over on the side of the road and was taken by the ambulance. But in that moment, I truly thought I was dying. Um, and I called Alyssa even before I called the cops, and I told her that I loved her and that I thought I was going to die. And I don't think that she was able to handle it because she didn't even go to the hospital to meet me there. So, you know,
Wait, how long have you guys have been together for almost 4 years at this point, and she didn't even show up?
yeah, my mom ended up coming to the hospital. So, um, Yeah, but it ended up not being a big deal. I had a couple of seizures throughout the years that the doctors ended up calling syncopes, but I believe that it was another panic attack that just triggered a seizure. It just kind of locked up my arms, and like I couldn't even open up my hands. Like my hands locked into fists and I could not open them. So, of course, I was freaking out at that point. I didn't know what was wrong with me, and I really needed the support at that time, but I just don't think that she was in a position to give the support that I needed.
Did
Um
Wait, first off, like obviously like that's a traumatic experience and like your panic attacks like make sense for sure. So like so sorry you had to go through that. But at the same time, like did you guys break up because you were having these panic attacks and seizures?
I don't know. I don't I don't want to I don't want to take a guess and like accuse her of that. So there was a couple of things, that was going on, and then, you know, a big part too was that she told me not to get a bird, and I did.
Get a
Um
bird?
Yeah, yeah. So, at about the same time, I really wanted a bird, and she just kept telling me that I was dumb for it. So
Like
I
any kind
went,
of bird or what?
I got a finch. I named him Phineas the Finch, and she hated it. She was so mad at me for that. And I think that she was already in a position where she couldn't handle what I was going through. And then I was going against like little
The
stuff like that.
the
And
bird was
like I
just the
said,
cherry on top.
yeah, I just wasn't in a great place, and I really wasn't in the mood to be told what I could or couldn't do. Um, so I got the bird, and she was so mad about that.
Did you live
But
together?
then, what was that?
Did you live together?
Yeah, we did for a long time.
And was
At
this bird
right,
loud?
no, no. She had actually moved back into her parents right before I got the bird, because which,
Then who cares if you have a damn bird? Like it's
that's
your
what I was
bird.
thinking too. And the worst part about it is the bird died literally days after I got it. So it wasn't even worth it.
This is like
Um
reminding me of like a Dumb and Dumber moment where they have the bird and
right.
then like the blind kid like gets the bird. This is what
It
it's
just
reminding me of.
I just I think that like little stuff like that just kind of set her over. I don't think she was able to handle what I was going through. And then I think that she was just looking for excuses because she had moved out back with her parents. And she said that it was just so that she could be close to work. And I wasn't happy with it, but I really didn't put up a fight. So she moved back in with her parents, and then um, the last day, well, the last week that we were dating, I'll say the last day that I saw her before we broke up, we actually went to a wedding together. So her cousin was getting married. So we went to the wedding together, and she was going to leave for a camping trip with her two friends, which I absolutely hated these friends like more than anything. Um, so it was a guy and a girl that were dating, and she wanted me to go with her on a camping trip, but I told her because of work I just couldn't go. So the friends I know convinced her to break up with me while they were on the camping trip, because the day that she came back, she didn't even text me that she was home. And then I got a text message later. So 4-year relationship, she ended over a text
I
message.
hate that. That is
Oh my
such
Uh-huh.
horseshit.
gosh.
Yeah, maybe it was. I don't know. Maybe it was for the best. You know,
Even if it was for the best, why would you break up over text? That's
Like what a
such like so cowardly.
low amount of respect. My ex-boyfriend had just broken up with me over text, and I'm like, okay, go back to high school and middle school. Like have fun in that world.
it's
Ugh.
just a horrible feeling. It's like, I spent 4 years, absolutely gave you everything. It's like I at least deserve for you to look at me when you're telling me this, and
Yeah.
that way I know that you truly mean it.
Mm-hmm. So, okay.
So.
So
Mhm,
she goes on this camping trip and
mhm.
So what were her reasons for breaking up with you in this text? Was it because of this bird or what did
No,
she
she
say?
she she just said that it wasn't working out, but I believe that there was another guy at this point because the guy that she went on the camping trip with and the girl that were together, he was in the National Guard. And, not even a month after we had broken up, she was already dating a new guy that was friends with him, also in the National Guard.
Ew.
So I kind of feel like they were not only convincing her to break up with me, but also to get with this guy.
I feel like I mean, personally, I feel like anytime people like break up over text and then like they're just in a relationship like right after, I really do think people are like cheating or like having an affair because it's like obviously like you feel bad that you're doing it, but you also want to do it at the same time, but then you're a coward to tell them in person like, yeah, we can't be together, whatever it is. Like that's just what I feel like I've experienced. So I'm
That's
curious
probably
if like it
Hmm.
was
true.
actually
Yeah.
happening.
Yep. So yeah, that honestly put me in an even worse spot. So I was drinking quite a bit after this, actually. I kind of was picking up a bad habit.
Did you
And
get a new
then
bird?
no, after finding that one dead, I just thought it was best to just leave it alone.
It makes sense
Um
now why you always want to say we should get a building bird. Makes sense now.
well, I love animals in general. I'm one of those people that if there's an animal around that I can take, I will take it. Um, but so yeah, basically, I was kind of in a bad place, but I didn't reach out to her at all. I think that maybe we had talked one time after that. Um, and I think it was just a phone call where I don't think I was begging her to get back together, but I definitely wanted to because honestly, the worst part of this breakup was the dreams. Like every single night I would dream of this girl and it
Bad.
tormented me for months. It was honestly horrible. Like every time that I would close my eyes, I would dream about her. And it took me a long, long time to get over her. Um,
You need to learn how to do some
so
lucid dreaming.
or just not dream at all.
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah, but what ended up really hurting my feelings after this, like I said, I didn't reach out after. I just kind of accepted it for what it was. And then I, my friend texted me and he asked me if something was true that just absolutely blew me away. So I haven't talked to her or her family in months. Um, Her dad was now in the hospital, like actively dying from COVID. He ended up pulling through, but I was in no mood to be playing games. It would be so disrespectful to do that while their family was going through it. But my friend reached out and he said, "Hey, um, Alyssa's telling everybody that you wrote her mom a letter." And I was so confused on what this letter could be. And they sent me a picture of it and it was disgusting. It was somebody had written to her mom pretending to be me and was saying that she had a nice ass and how much I liked her. It was absolutely disgusting.
That you were
And like,
complimenting the mom?
yeah,
Oh, the mom totally wrote that
after
letter.
all of this.
100%.
Well, that's what I said too. And when I looked at the handwriting, it some things were off from mine, like very noticeably off, but some of it looked real. And the only thing that I could think of is that I used to write Alyssa love letters all the time, and they kept them. And I honestly think that the mom wrote herself that letter for more attention and drama. And this honestly broke my heart. Like I swear that hurt worse than breaking up. Like I had just done so much and been a part of that family for so long. And it honestly just hurt my feelings with how many people believed it.
Well, it's like
Um
defamation of character. Like, I mean, when you told like earlier about how she would cry over Scott, and now here she is like having
Mhm.
crazy behavior, like making fake letters that you like supposedly wrote is just that's just such psycho behavior. Like
Right. And,
genuinely.
you know, and I wasn't drinking at the time. There was absolutely no chance of that, but nobody seemed to believe me. And I think that's like the thing that I hate the most is being accused of something that I didn't actually do. One of the worst feelings in the world. And especially this, it's like her dad was in the hospital with COVID, like about to die. And I'm like, you guys think so little of me that I would do that. And yeah,
So
that really sucked. Yeah, with Alyssa though, it's one of those things where like the situation it still hurts me to this day. It's been almost 5 years now. But when you spend that long and you're looking at houses and you're looking at rings, and then for it to end like that, it makes you not want to try anymore.
Yeah, that would be really hard because it probably makes you nervous. Like you probably feel like you're walking on broken glass at that point because obviously you didn't write that letter and someone did and they're blaming it on you. And so it probably makes you nervous, right?
Yeah, I think honestly the better word is just like embarrassed. Like that's the best way I could describe that letter situation was like just embarrassed. I felt like all the people that I grew up with because, everybody knows everybody there. So it just felt like I was no longer the same person of those guys because when they're being told the story, I'm this horrible guy that she broke up with and I'm harassing her mother. And like so it made me embarrassed to be around anybody. I think it's a good part of the reason why I moved away.
Yeah, that
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, that's a lot too, especially like from the sounds of it, like you genuinely did love Alyssa and like you said you were looking at houses, you were like wanting to buy rings and like the way things ended is definitely super unfortunate because, you were in a time in your life where you needed like just support, like somebody just to be there and then for her to like slowly like distance herself in time of need when you had probably been there lots of times for her and then to have like literally that's like a stab in the back. And
No,
then
that's exactly what it felt like. Like you said, I've been there for everything. I was there when her sister had a baby. I was there when her grandparents were in the hospital and sat with them. I was at every single family gathering on vacations with them. I took Alyssa to Miami. Like everything that I wanted out of a relationship, she was that. And for it to end the way it did, just really, really was hard. And I think it's been kind of impactful on the relationships I've had since then. I don't really seem to put in as much effort anymore because it all just feels like no matter what I do, it's going to be pointless in the end.
I don't think you should view it that way at all. I mean, you just have to keep trying. A lot of relationships end this way, unfortunately. Like people get really involved with the families, obviously, because that's naturally what is going to happen, and then it's like you become strangers at the end of the day. So, yeah, I think it's a normal experience that happens to a lot of people, and it's unfortunate, and of course, it happened to you as well. But we are running out of time. So,
All right.
Cooper, thanks for coming on. It
Yeah,
was
thank you for
a,
having me.
a story in a lot of different directions, but it came together at the end. But yeah, for our listeners, as always, make sure you subscribe and save. We're streaming anywhere you can get your podcasts. Remember that we have a new distributor. It is Red Circle. If you could go to their distribution link on my link tree, that would be very helpful. And you can follow us on social media. It's Romance Unraveled on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And if you have a story that you would like to share, you can reach out to me directly on one of those platforms and I'll get you scheduled to come onto the show. Until next time.